Hello all, Game Methuselah. Well, I hope you're still enjoying your imprisonment. It's beginning to worry me a little bit now that the governments are mandating that we do these things. And that always scares me when things are being told that you have to do it instead of please help out and do it. I have been, self-quarantining now, both for the whole period of time that the coronavirus scare has been going on and the fact that I had injured my foot and was sort of having to quarantine because I couldn't get up and walk. Let's hope it gets better. If you get a chance, do what I'm doing, which is supporting as many of the little local businesses as I can, especially the food service ones. And if you want them to be there when this is all over, you got to kind of help to support them now if you can. Keep track of your neighbors. I'm always worried about some of my neighbors who might be a little older. I ask, hey, if you need anything, I'm out and about. We can run to the market for you or get you something. That's a benefit. These people are here and sometimes you forget about your neighbor. They're home now and you're home now. Maybe this is the time for you to be a good neighbor and see what you can do. So it's nice to know that humanity has not faded away with this disaster. Real quick video I wanted to do on something. As you guys know, I'm a big painter, and this week going through the internet looking for what unusual type of miniatures were out there, something that I thought was very interesting. And I knew it was there. I've been getting 3D printed miniatures for a lot of my historical games like Bolt Action. My friend Ed printed me a bunch of What If Polish tanks for World War II. I have a Polish army in Bolt Action. Obviously the Poles didn't survive to 1940, but there were things on the drawing board of what they would have produced as far as tanks and vehicles had they survived. So my friend printed me these Polish tanks. I have been putting them together and getting ready to paint them up for my army and have made my own scenario book of basically what the Polish army would have looked like in 1940, 41, 42. It's fun. But of course, this is fantasy. And as you know, I'm a big fantasy fan. So I found these things on Etsy. And there seems to be a lot of people who are doing 3D printing. I don't know if that's their stuff. I don't know if they're just finding things that are out there in the general market. 'Cause I know there's a lot of free things available or at very low cost. But this guy, his name, excuse the glasses, Northern Iceworks, WERKS. It was basically for $25. I got 25 3D printed hard plastic Goblin Citizenry. Now, I love these things. I love having weird figures that no one else has, and I love having townsfolks and things like that. I also bought from him a set of 3 sets he had. I bought only one of a human town folks. Now, I have a lot of human town folks, and I have halfling town folks and dwarven town folks, and I love all this stuff. A lot of it's not been painted. This might never get painted. Who knows? Just because, of course, there's only a limited amount of time, and I need to always paint things that I need for my games, not necessarily things that are just going to be interesting you put on the board for backdrop. But the nice thing about these little town folks, little goblin town folks, is that they make a great little warband. You can use them for your basic goblins, and they do a good job. There are also some very interesting poses. There's some that look like druids, obviously some that look like citizenry. They have smaller, like goblin children, and there's females and some interesting type characters. It's very interesting to add to your collection. $25 for 20 figures. Plus, it came with 4 little goblin houses. And that was really kind of cool. It was kind of the pièce de résistance, what made it so I couldn't refuse it. I had to have, I think they would be good for pretty much anything, Celtic or something else. But the nice thing about it is you're talking about like $1 a cast. The castings aren't bad. I'm not going to say they're phenomenal, but they're interesting and they're different. And the fact that they're hard plastic, which I'll likely still clean with soap and water, though I'm not sure 3D printed miniatures need to be cleaned. They make for a nice, quick, low-cost collection of goblins that can be used for all kinds of different things. Now, the human set I bought was also very interesting, but for the exact same reason. That I'm sure there's many other people out there doing this. For a very inexpensive amount of money, you can pick up a very nice collection of figures that can be great for all kinds of heroes. They can be good for the town folks as well, because anything that adds to the quality of your game is beneficial. If people are going to paint miniatures and bring them to your game, you've stepped up. Maybe if you can get all your players to do just something, like I said, draw magic cards, whatever they're going to do, Everyone has a stake in your game, a reason to continue to play. And that's how I've held game groups together for decades. Everybody feels involved. It's the fact that the adventures intertwine with their missions and their adventures, and eventually it's a vast, vast story that gets told. But the reason I wanted to point it out for it is I was surprised at the quality being as good as it was for as low a cost as it was. Take a look at it, see if it's something that'll work for you. Until then, I'm going to be doing another video, I think, on the Fantasy Trip and how to generate now your campaign using Fantasy Trip rules, now that I've got you doing the Minimalist DM campaign. Hope all is well. I'll be back soon with some more videos, keeping you entertained while we're stuck here at home. So until I have a chance to speak to you again, fight me, devils, fight, for I hate peace. Paint on. So this was the little set of goblins that I purchased. As you can see, castings are okay, and they're workable and stuff. And I think they would be very, very easy to paint because there's not a ton of detail. They sort of remind me a lot of Games Workshop figures in that they're sort of thick and makes it kind of pretty easy to paint. A lot easier than painting some of the more intricate, detailed figures is like. But I think they'd come up with some really nice poses. As you can see, they're all sort of usable as sort of goblin characters and the like. I think they would be pretty beneficial. And for the fact that it's $25 and it was free shipping, it's a nice little collection. The huts are interesting. They can be used, obviously, just as terrain bits or color in the whole thing. And I have a bunch of little goblin children that I had picked up, I don't know, decades ago. And I thought that would be great because now I have a whole village of goblins. Now, might be great for a little adventure. Well, this is the human set of civilians that I picked up. Now, it came with 17 figures. And I was and 2 of them were duplicated. So maybe the set was supposed to originally be 15 and somehow we just threw some extras in or something. I didn't look that closely. And to be very frank, I don't really care. I don't mind having an extra fishmonger or something. But I wanted you to take a look. All of these are very interesting. I would say about half of them could, I think, be very useful and interesting little player characters for rogues and wizards and whatever else. It's kind of nice, and he has 2 other sets. This one I bought because I thought it had the most citizenry type thing, and I was actually looking for more citizens than other characters. So that's why this is the way it is. Some of his others even might be better for characters. Again, the molds are okay. The detail is fair. I don't see a lot of flash or anything on them, so they should be pretty easy to paint. I might clean up a couple and just paint them to practice on to see how they come out when the finished product. But considering, again, the price was being fairly cheap, you might want to just look into this and see if it's something that might add to your collection of miniatures. And if you can do it and you're on a fixed budget, I always look for cheap ways to get figs. So good luck and game on.